Mic check. Are you wondering how many calls does it take to make a sale? Everybody has advice on this, right? Like they'll say, oh, just make 5 calls a day or 10 calls a day or 1 call a day. The reality is literally everybody that is telling you that is just pulling that number out of their you-know-where like some colonoscopy for your sales business.
What is wrong with everyone today?
But today, we're going to diagnose your numbers and help you figure out exactly how many calls it's going to take you to make a sale in your business. I'm going to share with you what are the numbers you need to be tracking, how you can hit that target mark and set your goals and benchmarks so you can hit that every single time. And finally, I'm going to actually give you a template that you can download for free.
Yay! Well, great. Yay!
And it's going to give you all of the formulas already pre-built in so you don't even have to do the math. Am I your new best friend? Are you going to hire me to perform your sales colonoscopy? Super gross.
We save lives. Oh, something funny?
And since my editor loves a good colonoscopy, let's break away and show you one. Just kidding.
Uncalled for.
I love salespeople, I am one. But let's be honest, we're not always the most realistic bunch. We always think we are just like 1 call away from the next big deal and the next big breakthrough and everything's gonna shift overnight. But when you don't know your numbers, you're literally setting yourself up for frustration and failure. And I don't know about you, but I don't wanna have to deal with all that inner monologue and inner negative talk. Maybe we really suck at sales. I just wanna know the numbers, I wanna go after them, and I wanna hit the goal every time.
Something was falling into place.
Okay, so first thing we gotta figure out is what is your closing ratio? Your closing ratio is the number of qualified sales calls that you have divided by the number of people that you actually close. So if you close 2 deals out of every 10 qualified sales conversations, you have a 20% closing ratio. If you close 5 deals out of every 10 qualified conversations, you have a 50% closing ratio. Figure out what your closing ratio is because you're gonna need it as we figure out the magic number.
Because I am a surgeon. This is America, and I will do what needs to be done.
Your closing ratio will change. It is not a permanent number, so I don't recommend putting it on a tattoo, 25% closing ratio, because it will change, and there's a few different reasons why it can change. Number 1, your emotion cycle. When you are in your feels, your closing ratio tends to go down. When you're feeling stressed, when you're feeling scarce, your closing ratio tends to go down. When you're like, I'm feeling great and amazing and on top of the world, your closing ratio tends to go up. Closing ratios can also be affected by seasonal changes. For example, if you work with women entrepreneurs during the summer and during Christmas break, you'll probably see your closing ratio takes a little bit of a dip and then it comes right back up again. The third reason would be the lead source. So certain lead sources convert better than others. If you're working with cold leads that you just prospected and like hit them up in the DMs, that closing ratio is going to be a lot lower than like people that you met at a live speaking event where you got to knock their socks off with your presentation. So your lead source will also affect that closing ratio. All right, let's take a look, and we are about to uncover your magic number that it's going to take for you to hit your sales goal. So the first thing is you're going to look at what is your actual sales goal for the month. I have in here that it's $20,000. Then you're going to put in the most popular product, and that is going to be $5,000. Then it's going to tell you here we need 4 sales. Now, that's not actually telling you how many calls you need to make, but it's really important because ultimately you want to hit your sales goal every month. So let's look at your conversion ratio. Let's say if you don't know what your conversion ratio is, I would guess that it's 20%. And then it's going to tell you you need to have 20 sales conversations in order to hit the sales goal. Now that's not even the number of calls that you need to make. Now you need to look at the number of appointments that are going to hold, and I have in here 75%, which means you would need to have 26.67, so we're just going to say 27 people that schedule their appointments. Now there's another fun number, which is what percentage of people that you ask to do a sales call actually say, yes, I will do that sales call. The number here following this pattern is 106.67 people that you have to ask. Now I know what you're thinking. That makes me want to wet my pants.
Oh, I'll pee.
It makes me want to throw up a little bit in my mouth.
Oh, that is a kidney.
And it feels really undoable. I get it. Every time somebody runs their numbers, they get that feeling of being a little bit overwhelmed.
Where is she? I don't know. I only have one shoe.
But what I recommend that you do is you just break that down. If you think about it, that's 25-ish people, 27 people that you need to actually invite per week. If you break that down, that's what, maybe 27 people that you need to invite per week. If you break that down by day, 27 divided by 5, you're talking 5 or 6 people that you need to invite per day. You guys, that's not that hard. And so I really love this opportunity to break down your numbers, because then it becomes formulaic. And I always say that business is not magical, it's formulaic. And it's not just that the few people can be successful, anybody can be successful when you understand your numbers. The other thing I love about this form, one more plug for it, is you can change your numbers as things fluctuate. So if you're working with a really hot lead gen source and that closing ratio is higher, or you're working with a really lukewarm lead generation source, you can change those numbers, you can change them seasonally, you can change them every single month if you want to, and always know exactly how many calls it's going to take for you to hit your sales goal. I feel like right now we should all be having a standing applause for numbers. I'm going to offer a gift for you right now. You can go download my Ultimate Marketing Calendar. It's got all the formulas programmed in, and you can follow along with me as we track these numbers and help you figure out what is your magic number. Go grab the link down below. So my friends, how many, and I encourage you, put this in the comments below, how many sales calls do you need to make in order to hit your sales goal? If you need a little more diagnosis on your sales process, then I encourage you to go check out Do I Need to Use High Pressure Sales Tactics, where I actually review a real sales call from a real salesperson and give some specific tips that you can use to improve your sales calls today. So go check it out, go watch it, click. I know you want your sales calls to be better and smoother. That's why you're here in the first place. Thanks so much for watching. I am the sales doctor, diagnosing your sales woes so your sales can be sick.